Macabre Coven. We are venomous sin.
And venomous sin declares war on hypocrisy, fake fucks, and the politically correct world that tries to silence you.
We are the band that refuse to kneel.
And stand up for the ones the world tries to silence with fake smiles and so-called status.
You screamed, we hear.
And you are not alone.
This is the Macabre Coven. It's Lina. And I've got something to say that's going to make some of you clutch your rainbow-colored pearls. Here's the truth. The LGBTQ plus community never needed your mainstream approval. They never needed your hashtags, your corporations, your safe little rainbow vodka bottles in June. They already had us. They already had subcultures, metal, goth, punk industrial, all the spaces you used to laugh at, fear, or write off as freak shit. Those were the real homes. Meanwhile, mainstream people, you needed a price tag before you gave a fuck. You needed it to become an anal trend before you could stomach the idea of queer people existing. And now you're all out there waving stupid rainbow flags like you discovered inclusion? Spare me, because here's the difference. In subcultures, no one cared who you slept with. No one cared how you identified. You showed up, screamed, looked like hell, and stood against the system. You belonged. That was it. No gatekeeping on identity, just rebellion. The mainstream loves to act like it's the savior now. Look at us being inclusive, please. You were the ones who mocked, spat, erased, and now you want applause because you figured out how to slap a rainbow on a soda can? Too fucking late. Let me ask you something. Where the fuck were you when queers were getting their asses kicked? Where were you when families threw them out, when teachers looked the other way, when governments ignored them? You weren't there. You didn't care. The only thing you cared about was staying comfortable. But queers found comfort anyway. With us, in the shadows, in the clubs, in the noise. They were already dancing, already screaming, already building scenes long before the mainstream decided they were profitable. And that's the part that burns me, watching the same assholes who laughed at queers now strut around like allies because it's trendy. Newsflash, being an ally isn't about waving a rainbow flag in June. It's about being there when it's not safe. And that's something the mainstream never did. Subcultures did. That's why we're the real inclusive spaces. Always were, always will be. Now, I'm not saying we were perfect. Sure, there were homophobic dickheads at shows too. Poison leaks everywhere. But compare the scale. Go ask a queer goth kid in the 90s if they felt safer in the club than in their own school. Go ask a gay metalhead in the 80s if they felt more seen at shows than at their family dinner table. The answer's obvious. Subcultures gave what the mainstream refused: belonging. Not as an accessory, not as a marketing campaign, just belonging. And now it's all too late. Now queer people are praised, commodified, made into market demographics. The same people who once mocked them now clap for them. It's sick. It's hollow. It's an anal trend. That word nails it, doesn't it? Anal trend. It sounds uncomfortable, forced, unnatural. Exactly like mainstream inclusivity, because that's what it is. A clumsy, half-assed attempt to cash in on something that was never theirs to begin with. And it shows. Pride parades sponsored by banks that fund anti-queer politicians. Pride merch made in countries where being queer can get you killed. Companies slapping rainbow filters on their logos while donating to the exact people who want to erase queer existence. That's not support. That's a cash grab. That's exploitation in drag. You know what real support looks like? It looks like the goth scene giving queers a place to dance without shame. It looks like the metal scene letting them scream out their rage without judgment. It looks like punks spitting at authority alongside their queer brothers and sisters, no questions asked. That's what community looks like. But the mainstream? It doesn't build community, it builds markets. That's why it's too fucking late. You can wave all the flags you want now, but you'll never erase the years you stood by in silence. Or worse, joined in the abuse. And here's the irony. Now that it's trendy, now that queer is fashionable, the mainstream thinks it's leading the way. But the truth is, you're late to the party. You're showing up after the music's already played, after the drinks are gone, after the scene was built without you, and you're trying to take credit. Not happening, not on my watch, because we remember. We know who was there. We know who bled for these spaces. We know that subcultures were inclusive before hashtags, before Pride Month, before corporations tried to sell it. Queer people were already ours, already family, already shaping everything that makes these scenes what they are. So, yeah, go ahead, wave your rainbow flags, post your hashtags, buy your rainbow sneakers, but don't act like you built this. Don't act like you discovered inclusivity. You ignored it when it mattered. You mocked it when it wasn't safe. You called it freakish until it became profitable. And now you want applause? Too late. Too fucking late. Subcultures were already home, and they'll keep being home when the mainstream moves on to the next anal trend. Follow us into the shadows, subscribe, share this episode, and let the mainstream choke on their next anal trend while we keep the real fire burning. This is the Macabre Coven. I'm Lina Macabre, and if that pissed you off, good. You probably needed to hear it, because comfort is for corpses, presence, scars, rebellion, that's for the living. And in our world, queer people have always been alive.
If you like the show, hit subscribe, share it to anyone you think should hear it.
If you ever been silenced, manipulated, excluded, we are here for you. We are Venomous Sin.
And Venomous Sin declares war.
You are not alone.